Let's talk about the new film Drop, which is directed by Christopher Landon, starring Meghann Fahy as well as Brandon Sklenar, which of course Brandon Sklenar was just in It Ends With Us, and Meghann Fahy was in The White Lotus Season 2. Impeccable performance from Meghann Fahy, who was also nominated for an Emmy for that. Also, you have here Christopher Landon, who of course is the genius behind Happy Death Day, and we just heard Happy Death Day 3 is happening. Super excited for that. But let's get into Drop, which was a movie I watched back at South by a month ago, and I'm barely doing the review, but the movie is coming out this week, so what a better time to do the review, right? So let's talk about Drop, my thoughts on it, and where do I think that Christopher Landon lands with this one. So this movie came after Scream 7. Of course, we know Christopher Landon was supposed to direct Scream 7, and there's just been a ton of things coming out for Scream 7 recently, which I do want to make a whole video for because it is just an insane story. But let's talk about Drop and my thoughts on it. So this movie deals with a woman played by Meghann Fahy who is going out on a date. She's been out of the dating game for a bit and she's trying to get back into it. She's a single mother. She's really worried about her child and all of that. But her sister comes in to help babysit and is like, go on your date, have fun. Of course, it doesn't turn out as amazing as she thought it would, because she does get an airdrop that pretty much says, you know what, I'm gonna mess with you the whole night. And it's not just that messing around that's annoying and just gets on your nerves. It's a messing around where it's like your whole life is in danger, your family, and you're gonna do what I say. Basically, these mysterious airdrops are wanting her to kill her date, which is Brandon Sklenar, and if she doesn't do this, then her whole family's gonna die. So Meghann Fahy's character is in a predicament. I won't get any further into the plot right now. I'll do that tomorrow in a video where we talk more spoilers so I can really tell you some of the things I felt about the movie. This is a spoiler-free review, don't worry. So now that we know what the movie's about, let's get into my thoughts and opinions on it. So I saw this at South by Southwest, and it was at the Paramount Theater. If you've never been to South by Southwest or the Paramount Theater at South by Southwest, you wouldn't know how raucous the crowd was here, because this is a crowd. When you go to see a movie at the Paramount, they get loud, they get excited. It is a fun time. Sometimes, I'll say that, sometimes it's a little bit too much, overdone, but still, nonetheless, I think deep down it's pretty fun watching a movie at the Paramount with a big crowd at South by Southwest. I will tell you, that's kind of what skewed me at the beginning with this movie. The more I sat with it and all of that after this, I was more thinking like, there are some problems here and there I didn't really vibe with. But I think Meghann Fahy's performance is undoubtedly the strongest part about this movie. She plays this role so well in a way that's so interesting to watch, and as you see the film progress, it incredibly gets better and better, her performance here, because the movie does have some very dark moments and it gets pretty deep as well, especially with violence and all of that with a domestic partner and all these things that really go into this movie to make it that much more deeper, I feel. And there are some moments that are very, I would say, profound and also very disturbing. And I think they can be very triggering to some people as well. I'll say that right now. But I do believe that Meghann Fahy's performance here is impeccable. Like, she really does an amazing job at presenting this woman who feels that she is sort of at a wall with things and has these barriers around her for a reason. And you quickly find out that that reason is one of those things that really has like sort of made her not want to go out and approach new people and all of that. And undoubtedly, she is the most fleshed out character here. Now, when it comes to Brandon Sklenar's character, I feel like he's more of a cutout of sorts, and you do get a little bit more information about his like past, and he as a character gets fleshed out a bit more. But I do feel like by the end of the movie, we don't really know this character that much, and he does have a charming personality to him, which is presented in the film, which makes you that much more like attached to him, but you really don't know this character that well. And of course, I'm not saying here that we need a character study on both of these characters, but it just feels like his character was really like underwritten in a way that it was just like, I don't know how to feel about him though, right? But the whole thing about the movie is the premise, right? Like, who is sending these mysterious airdrops? How is Meghann Fahy going to get out of this without her family getting hurt and herself? Is she really going to kill Brandon Sklenar and make sure that this doesn't happen to her or her family and they get out safe? That's the whole premise that we're watching the movie for. And I will tell you, it is very intriguing, especially when the airdrops start coming in and you're wondering, how is she going to get around this? How is she going to do this task and all of that? There are some side characters in the restaurant, because this this is a very contained film that takes place all in this restaurant. There are some other shots in other locations, but I would say 90% of the film is in this restaurant. And these characters do add a bit to the comedic relief and a little bit to push the narrative. I thought the waiter was very funny. You'll know very soon as you watch this movie that the waiter is going to be a highlight for sure in the film. And I think that these characters work great for that added sort of comedic relief or pushing the narrative as well. But truly, it is a film about Meghann Fahy's character, and that's what the movie does focus on a ton. So I am going to say that the middle part of the film, it does start to sort of pump the brakes a bit. It gets a bit slow. Things start to feel redundant, and it's like, okay, we're doing this over again, over again, over again. And I did get a little bit bored in that part. But I will tell you, those last 15 minutes, that third act is impeccably amazing. There is a turning point, and it is really felt because I think that the middle part was very slow. I really love the beginning, how it sets everything up, and as we get to the date and it starts coming in the airdrops. But once the airdrops start coming in, it just starts to sort of be, again, the same old, until that third act comes in and kicks it into high gear. Like, it went super fast how we got to that big conclusion until that third act comes in and really kicks down the door, and it is just felt, honestly, it was a rush, a thrill ride. And I think Christopher Landon does an amazing job with his directing, his camera shots as well, giving a lot of style and flair, especially in that last third act. It was such an unbelievable, breathtaking like race to the end, and I truly enjoyed it. But like I said, there are some parts in this movie that are just underwritten. There are some parts here that just feel a bit too redundant as well, like we're doing it over and over again, and it just got a little bit stale for my liking. Overall, I think Drop is worth checking out, maybe at a matinee. I don't know if I would run out to the theater to watch it opening night, but I definitely do think it's worth seeing, especially with a crowd, because there are so many of those moments, those oohs, ahs type moment crowds that are so fun to watch with a full house. So definitely a movie worth checking out for sure. I just don't know if I would run out and pay full price for it. That's my honest opinion for it, but I would still watch it for sure. It is great. The performances are great. The direction is great. It's just a bit in the middle and a bit redundant at times. Overall, Drop, though, worth checking out if you are looking for a good thriller. It's almost like, I would say, Red Eye light. Like, if you like Red Eye, you'll probably like this one, but it's not as good as Red Eye in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. You let me know your thoughts and opinions on the movie down below. I'm very excited to see more Meghann Fahy. I think she's a phenomenal actress, so very excited for the future here, and can't wait to see what Christopher Landon does next as well. I think he's such a talented director with a great eye. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on Drop in the comments down below. Make sure you follow us for more on things you love. We got reviews, theories, and talks. We're going to talk about the Black Mirror episodes throughout the weekend, so don't worry about that. We got those videos coming. But as always, stay tuned for more on all things you love in pop culture right here at Cultural Elixir. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.